Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet.
Welcome to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host Andra, with the topic about sex. It's from the point of view of an older woman. So let's talk sex. Today's topic is sexuality. Now, nowadays, sexuality is much more shown and portrayed. And anything that you can possibly do to show your sexuality, it's much more accepting now of all of the different sexualities. It's very diverse. There are many types of it. And you basically have to find who you are for your sexuality and identifying with that. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. And it may just change at what point in your life. You may have been well bred to be the man of the household because you are the boy of the family. But when you get older, that's not who you identify with. Same thing with females. You are breeded to grow up, take care of the house, take care of your man, have the 2.5 children. But when you get older, that's not how you want to see your sexuality, or it's not how you feel. At one point, coming to terms with your sexuality is very liberating. It's exciting. It's positive. It is a turning point and a experience, a very positive experience, because you're able to identify who you are. And being able not to have to hide and just coming out. So that's what it's all about, being happy. It is very important to you, and it is a very important part of you and who you are as an individual. No right and wrong in it. It's who you are and how you choose to express who you are. And it's finding the right you for you. I mean, times have changed. People are more accepting of the different sexualities now than they were long time ago, where it has to be hidden. Some people are still living in that and will never understand. And the hardest part about that is in the family, because you just want your family members to love you for who you are, and you want to be able to express who you are and not hide you. And not all are able to do that. But there are more accepting now in most families, in being able to do it, in coming, to that decision of who you are. I mean, It affects your mental health. It affects, your emotional health, health and everything about you. But you got to be who you are, because you cannot be happy sexually if you're not happy with your sexuality. So very, very, very important. And believe it or not, sexuality is not about who you're having sex with. It is more about your sexual feelings, your thoughts, your attractions, and your behaviors towards the people around you and the people that you encounter every day. So this is where the difference comes into play. You may still, you find people physically or sexually or emotionally attractive in different ways. And this is what molds that. It's how you're viewing you and how you're viewing people outside of you and everybody, just everybody else in the world. Nowadays, back in the day, it used to be where, if you had a different sexual preference, that, it wasn't understood, so you were discriminated against. But that's not what's happening now. And believe it or not, your sexuality can play a major role, and does play a major role in your sexual activities. What are the two common ones? Heterosexual and homosexual. And we've grown up with those stereotypes, and teasing was a big thing. And people were being treated very badly for being who they identified with sexually. Sex is fun. So knowing what your sexuality is and being in tune with that makes, sex even funner. Sex is enjoyable. And knowing who you are and what you identify with in your sexuality enhances that. We have bisexual now. It's where you're not and you are attracted to both men and women. And you're not basically considered straight or gay, which is the word, what's being used. We are more politically correct now. But going back in a time, if you liked both sexes, they just thought you were weird. And they would definitely disown you. With bisexual, you may have a stronger feeling for one gender over the other, but you do enjoy both, which having sex is much more enjoyable for you because you're enjoying both sides of that sexuality. And you're enjoying that for who it is. There are those bisexuals who both sexes equally, but then you have it where your bisexuality is more attracted to, say, man to woman. But you will entertain the occasional man on man. And that goes vice versa. You're enjoying your sex. You're enjoying it. You're feeling frisky in different ways. And you are enjoying both of the sexes in that manner. Now we have asexual. Is actually considered ace for short. This person actually identified with as asexual as someone who does not experience or experiences very little sexual attraction. This is not a choice like abstinence. It's where someone chooses not to have sex with anyone, whether they are attracted to them or not. It is a sexual orientation like homosexuality and heterosexuality. But the people who identify being asexual, they actually, their experiences with sexual attraction is infrequent. So, yeah, they have it, but it's more where it's not an overpowering attraction, to say the least. However, they have a tendency to feel their sexual attraction only after they develop a strong emotional bond with someone, which is also known as demisexuality. And this particular asexuality is experienced in different ways and on a different range of ways as well. So we can look at that in that way. We're not, discrimination has come and has been addressed a lot better now than it was a long time ago. We're having to, a different sexuality was not accepted lightly, and people would retaliate. But your sexuality makes you who you are when it comes to your sexual act and enjoying that act and how you're going to approach that act. And the individuals who are involved with you in and know your sexuality can enjoy you sexually in that manner as well. So it is very, very important to know who you are and what your sexuality is, and being able to incorporate that into your sexual endeavors, because that's the way you're able to enjoy it. So we're going to take a break here. So get a drink, get a snack, and come on back. I'll be back.
Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host, Andra, with a topic about sex from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we have our sexuality intact. Let's move on to use that sexuality and boost the libido with our newfound sexuality. Now, this goes both ways. When it comes to libidos, they don't change from man to woman. Your libido is yours. You get to keep it. It will change over time, just like possibly your sexuality. But for the most part, we can focus in on our libido and improving it and boosting it just as we are. We don't need to change much for that, but we can beef it up. So let's talk about boosting. Now, these are all natural ways. So this is what we do in our everyday life. We can work these in. One, and big and foremost, is manage our anxiety. Now, this is a common barrier to sexual functioning and libido in both sexes. Now, managing it, some of us will say, oh, I don't have any anxiety. Well, all of us have some form of anxiety or stress. We just portray it different or handle it different, but it comes out in other ways. And sexually is one of those big ways that it shows up. And generally it affects a male's erection. And it might be betraying them. So you need to address this. And then what happens when a man feels he can't get it up and has a bit of erectile dysfunction? They can't be stressed. They can't have anxiety. They're a man. Only women have it. I don't think so. We all have it because as women, we just don't exactly get turned on, or we can't concentrate on that sex that we're having with our partner or sex with whoever we're having it with. We all need to manage it. Best ways to do this is practicing good sleep hygiene by getting a full night's rest and being well rested. So, after getting a good night's sleep, you get up in the morning and you're going about your routine, but making time for a favorite hobby. It gets your mind working and occupied and, brings down that stress level in there. Obviously, exercising is very good. A nutritious diet's always the best. And basically working to improve your relationships. And what most people don't like doing, but is more accepted now than in the past, is talking to a therapist. But we want to be able to do this first for ourselves. So we gotta be able to identify what's going on. But if we're really having an issue, you need to reach out. Next way to improve our lovely libidos, people, is improving your relationship quality. If there is a massive lull in the sexual desire and frequency in certain points of your relationship, well, you're lacking. You need to work on those things. Open up those line of communications and address it. Because the saying is, oh, I love them, but I don't like them. Well, they are two different levels of feelings towards your partner. Because you love that person, you love being with that person, you want to remain with that person. But when it comes to having sex with them or anything else, you're not liking them and you're not attracted to it, or you're just not into it with them. So there's where that difference come in. And as you're with somebody longer and longer, you get used to them and you have a tendency to just become mundane, mediocre, if you want to call it. And you don't want to get to that. So you want to improve your relationship quality. And the best thing to start with is planning date nights. Don't ever forget that you are in a relationship with someone that you care a lot about. Go outside and do activities together. If you haven't been able to get out, plan to get out, to go for a hike, a small one, or just go walking together. Again, communication, big thing here. Setting times for quality time with each other. I know that, trying to put a little time away for yourself, you don't want that, and you feel that you're forcing it, but you're not. That's actually something that you want to do, because it will help you to get into a good routine. And once you get past that and you're working on improving that relationship, things may come a lot easier, and that relationship will start to blossom again. Number 3, focus on foreplay. A lot of people, because you're with a partner for a long time, or you're with a person, you're just, okay, we're going to have sex. It's good sex. It could be bad sex. But if you want to work on boosting both of your libidos, and doing so to have or improving that sexual experience, it will increase your sexual desire, and it gives you, you're focusing on the non-penetration portion, which puts your mind elsewhere and gets you to the point where you can't hold out anymore. Best way to explain it. You can't hold out anymore. And that's where it's now boosting you up, and you are working on that foreplay, and you want to now just get into the act of sex. It is important in this act of foreplay, and women like it more than men. But if a man is very comfortable, what they will generally do is watching their partner is a total turn on for them. So they will focus on that foreplay. They will focus on that tease. They will focus on all of that because they want to see how you react. So that's normal. It comes up with everybody. Getting a good quality sleep. You are in a better mood. You have more energy. You're not cranky, you're not hangry, you're not anything that has to do with anger or anxiety or sleep or not being bothered. You get a good night's sleep, your whole body gets a full night's sleep. So it is very good, and it's actually better for genital arousal. So if you don't have sleep time in there, getting a good night's sleep as well is good for your overall body health. So you want great sex, you want to be increased libido, and you want to be in, the best shape possible. Do get some sleep. Next, eat that nutritious diet. We are more health conscious now, I believe, than we were years ago. I mean, I also believe that with all these fast food places at our disposal, we have a tendency to forget to be home to cook a meal that would be good for us. So taking a step down to look and eat better and help our bodies heal from inside as well as outside, because sexually, there's foods out there that are sexually healthy and sexually able to turn you on. But eating well aids in that. So that's very, very good. Always try to get like diets with vegetables, low sugar, lean proteins, things like that. Because these things actually are what affect and increase or decrease libido. So if you have a healthy diet in there, you're always doing a body good. Not only milk does a body good. There are other things out there. Another way is to try an herbal remedy. There's a lot of things out there. And when we return, because we're going to take a break here, we'll discuss those natural remedies and finish up our natural ways to boost our libido. So refresh that drink, refresh that snack, come back, get relaxed, and I'll be back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the GSMC Sex Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network, with your host Andra, where the topic about sex is from the point of view of an older woman. Now, we were working on our natural ways to boost our libidos from both man and female with our newfound sexuality. Now, we left off with some natural remedies of herbs, and there are a few that we can work with. Maca, M-A-C-A, Tribulus, Tribulus, ginkgo, which we all know, and ginseng, another common one. However, do be careful. Everybody's body reacts differently when introducing a herbal remedy or some natural supplement. If you take medications for something else, it may interact, or it may just interact with your body the wrong way. Always smart to discuss these with your doctor first, but they are there. You can probably find them in that little store hidden in between two bigger stores, which we call the hole in the wall. But those herbs are out there, and use them. They are natural, just like melatonin is natural to us for sleep aid. So that's why they say just go and get some melatonin supplement. These are the same way, but do be careful. Regular exercise is still on our list. We all know to do that. Don't need to explain that one. But believe it or not, maintaining a healthy weight is very, very good. Now, we all like our partners in different shapes, sizes, and forms. And that is a sexual preference. Don't ever let that stop you. But it has been found that being overweight does have a tendency to cause a low sex drive. This may not be true in all cases, but studies have found this. So maintaining a healthy body weight is very, very good, not only for your body itself, but for your mental health as well. And when your mental health and your physical health and everything is in tune with your sleeping well, your libido is going to fly to the top. And you're going to need to get busy and go on and do it. Have fun. Now, the next one is try a sex therapy. Now, before you all cringe on that one, sex therapy isn't what you think. It is and it isn't what you think it is anymore. Yes, there are sex therapists out there, and you may need to go and talk to one. However, sex therapy these days are actually classes on sex and how they teach you how to have a better sex by applying it right then and there. It may be done in groups with sex class, hands-on, or teaching your partner a new sex trick. But these classes are out there, and from what I understand and seen, people enjoy them very much. So don't be afraid for you and your partner to try something new and go to one of these, because you might just find out something that you like and want to continue. But it goes hand in hand with the talking. So talking to the therapist and also having that hands-on sex therapy. They are fun classes out there, and I'm assured if you research them, you can find one that best fits you and your partner. Another big one, which a lot of people want to do anyway, is quit smoking if you smoke. Due to the fact that it does have that negative impact on your cardiovascular system, which lessens the functioning of your cardiovascular, for which sex actually is improving and is good for. So you want to be healthy in all ways. Just a thought. But a lot of people these days are wanting to quit smoking. So it, might be good to look into. Others, hey, if that's what you want to do, keep it up. That is your choice. We're probably past the stage of it stunting your growth. So you are an adult. Do as you please with your lungs. However, it is a suggestion, and due to our improved health conscious society and people wanting to improve themselves, not only physically, mentally, but of course sexually and in the bed, it might be something you want to look into and work at. So give it a thought there and give it some actual movement in the right direction. Now, to break the boosting of our libido down into the sexes, it is a fact that if, boosting that testosterone in a male is actually related to libido in the man and their levels, either high or low. Looking into testosterone replacement therapy does help. However, just going out and taking a supplement or a vitamin is not suggested, but some believe that zinc, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids are good. Well, actually, they are good components for testosterone levels. For the ladies, we are addressing our estrogen levels in the same manner. So we will want to have an estrogen replacement therapy, which is well known during our time of menopause when our estrogen levels drop. And if you are maintaining physically good health and seeing your doctor all the time, then you're going to be prescribed something that will help with that and boost your estrogen levels. Now remember, if you have any problems that you cannot remedy with a simple fix, please consult your doctor. And again, before introducing any herb or any supplement into your diet, make sure that you speak to your doctor first and that it doesn't have an adverse effect on you. We are at the end of our show, so I want to thank you all for listening in. And as usual, practice safe sex, if not for your partner, for yourself.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows from the GSMC Podcast Network. From sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Sex Podcast.